Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the post-fight press conference here at Bellator Fighting Championships 39. For those in attendance, we hope you enjoyed the evening. Great fights inside the cage. For those joining us online, the live stream for tonight's post-fight press conference from Bellator 39, we welcome you as well. Just after the midnight hour East Coast time, so we're going to move to opening comments here rather quickly. First, a quick reminder though, you folks joining us online, you can still get your questions in. We'll still take a few more questions, although we know we'll have a lot of questions here from the house. Online, you can get those questions in. Our Twitter handle at Bellator MMA. On Facebook at facebook.com/Bellator. And of course, you can always email those questions in at info@Bellator.com. Bellator Fighting Championships 39. We have our fighters behind us, and we'll move quickly once again right to opening comments from Chairman and CEO of Bellator Fighting Championships, Mr. Bjorn Rebney.
Thanks, Mike. Of key importance, obviously, from my perspective, is Toby Amata, but I just wanted to clear the air real quick. Toby is doing fine. The doctor here said that he was taken to the hospital for precautionary reasons. He's already on his way back from the hospital, was arguing with the folks when he was asked to be taken to the hospital not to go. So, an unusual circumstance for Toby Amata because he hasn't been knocked out before, got knocked out cold, and but is doing good and should be back here. Was actually trying to make it back here for this press conference, so which is great news. Always a little bit disconcerting to see somebody taken off in any sport on a stretcher, and he's doing real well, so which is spectacular news. On to the next point. Thank our friends here at Mohegan Sun. This is a spectacular venue, an unbelievable venue for mixed martial arts. These guys do an amazing job. They make our lives easier, and we're doing this week in and week out. So come to a place like this with real professionals that understand the game, and a spectacular commission headed up by Mike Mazzulli is great for us as a company. We're hoping to be back here a lot in the East Coast in the coming months. And then to our partners at MTV2, who broadcast this show to 80 million homes, who do an amazing job, and as I've said many times, have been promoting us across Spike Network and MTV and MTV2 and MTV3 and MTVU, and the list goes on and on. But tremendous partners of ours who've done a great job and helped us put on another terrific show tonight. Gentleman far down to my left, Ben Saunders. I've said this before when we started talking about Ben and this fight coming up. There are some releases in organizations that make an enormous amount of sense, and then there are some that just leave you kind of scratching your head. Other people's loss was our tremendous gain. Very thrilled to have this gentleman fighting for us. Put on a great fight tonight against a guy that has an enormous heart. Wasn't able to make it to the press conference. He's doing all right, but was being checked out as well. And Matt Lee, who put on a very gutsy performance. But Ben Saunders is going to do big things in this organization. He's going to fight for us at 7. He's going to have another fight on television in very short order to come back and reestablish himself. So very happy to have Ben Saunders with us. Thought he put on a great show tonight. A couple words from Ben.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate everything you said. You know, I just took it with a grain of salt. It was a very depressing time getting cut, and you know, I just took it as it was, and you know, I just keep training harder and working on my weaknesses, man. Apparently, takedown defense and wrestling was not a top priority for me. It's not really how I like to fight. You know, I like to keep it standing and bang, and you know, the guys I fought that were able to, you know, take me down and nullify my guard are some of the top guys in the world. So I give them all props and all the credit in the world, and you know, I just keep working hard and getting better every single day.
I want to just tell a super quick story, and I know it's late, but about a year and a half ago, a buddy of mine who I hadn't talked to in a couple of years sent me an email, and it had a link on the email, and the link was to a fight that Patricio Pitbull was in. And all he wrote in the email was, "Dude, check this out." And I looked at it, and then we ultimately signed that fighter at 145 pounds. He came over here and looked like $1 million. He had a great stand-up game. His jiu-jitsu was unbelievable. Put on great shows for us. And the first time he came over, he told me about a Brazilian liqueur that I needed to try, and about his brother. And those were the two topics of conversation. And the second time he fought for us, he told us about his brother as well. And he said, "I have a brother." And I said, "How does he compare to you?" And he said, "His striking is better, and his jiu-jitsu is better, and he's bigger than I am." And that brother was Patricio Pitbull. And if you watched his fight against Razor Rob McCullough in the first round of our tournament, a Razor Rob McCullough that I think, well, I know because I was talking to Rob consistently, was better prepared and better ready for a fight than he had been in probably the last 5 years. And the knockout that he generated against Razor Rob, followed by the knockout tonight of Toby Amata, who has never been knocked out and who had won 14 of his last 17 fights and was fighting at the very top of his game. That's a spectacular performance. A lot of people were asking who conceptually could come up to face the man sitting to my left, who I've described regularly as the greatest lightweight in the world. And I think Patricky Pitbull is laying claim to potentially being that person. He's got another fight in this tournament, but he has made it to the finals, and that was one of probably the top 4 most devastating knees I've ever seen. So congratulations, Patricky. That was a spectacular performance.
Eu só tenho a agradecer ao presidente Bjorn, que há um ano atrás eu estava, como eu já falei, quando eu terminei a luta, eu estava voltando de uma lesão e não tinha nada previsto na minha vida. E no Brasil é muito difícil você viver de luta, você viver lutando. E eu já estava com isso, sentindo que eu não tinha mais chance para voltar e ser um campeão que eu sempre sonhei. E só tinha a torcer pelo meu irmão que estava no Bellator. E queria agradecer ao presidente. E depois de um ano da minha lesão, eu voltei e estou dando o máximo de mim para lutar e fazer o melhor que eu posso.
I'd like to thank the president of Bellator, Mr. Bjorn. And as I said in the post-fight interview, 1 year ago I was coming back from a knee injury. And I thought that I would probably stop fighting because there wasn't any opportunities, and fighting in Brazil is tough. You don't get paid much, and sometimes you don't even have the right to fight because people don't want to book you from another state and stuff like that. So 1 year ago I heard about this opportunity to fight in Bellator, and I finally got happy because I thought the rest of my life would be seeing my brother fighting. So here I am today after a very severe knee injury, and I have the opportunity to be the champion I always dreamed I could be. So I have to thank you very much.
When we kicked off our tournament, I think a lot of people thought that 170 was probably the most stacked division we had. 170 had Lyman Good in it, and it had Jay Huron in it, and it had Rick Hahn in it, and Chris Lozano in it, and the list went on and on. Lyman's game has elevated since his loss against Ben Askren. He came in at the top of his game. I thought Lozano versus Lyman Good in our first round of our tournament could conceptually have been a final in this tournament because Lozano had looked spectacular coming into that fight, and this gentleman dominated. And Rick's game plan, strategy, execution in this fight was just top tier. Congratulations to Rick. Congratulations to Mark in terms of getting him ready for this fight. A spectacular performance against a world-class welterweight who's fought for this organization, held its world title, and will no doubt be back with us in short order. But Rick Hahn, great performance, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, Lyman is a very tough guy. Obviously, you know, he's had the belt. He's won the tournament. Strong dude. Definitely my toughest fight in my career so far. It was a close one. I kind of thought I might have lost the fight going into after the third round. But you know, he's a tough dude. I didn't fight the way I wanted to originally, but you know, it worked out. I got the win, and I'm happy to be moving forward in the tournament, being in the finals. But like I said, hats off to Lyman and his camp. You know, it's a good job, guys. I appreciate the hard fight, and Bjorn, thank you.
I'd like to hear from our former champ as well, Lyman.
Still the champ.
That's right.
First of all, just wanted to kind of point out why is there like a little segregation. You got the losers corner over there, all the winners over there on one side. Could have scattered it. You know, hats off to Rick Hahn. You know, he went into this tournament, regardless of the outcome of the fight, you know, in essence, we're all you know, champions. We're fighters. We're professionals. So in the sport, you know, regardless of whatever outcome may happen, we just have to say to ourselves, you know, that both fighters go into a fight training their, you know, their hearts and training their minds. So you just go out there and just, you know, do their best. You know, I'm gonna be the first to say that I would never use anything as an excuse. Prior to the fight, there were a few discrepancies. You know, I was really sick, and this is actually something I've been trying to, you know, keep away from prior years. But there was like a 2-week layoff coming into the fight. I went in thinking it wasn't really going to affect me. You know, I think 90% of a fight is always mental. You know, so I went out there. It didn't really feel like it was my fight. You know, regardless of what people think or say, whether they think, you know, the decision weighed on my side, or if they, you know, if they felt weighed on his. You know, in the end, he came out victorious. He was a winner. So hats off to him. There is a part of me though that feels like there was, you know, a big disagreement on the judging. You know, I thought the 30-27 call was a little far off with that, but like I said, none of that's an excuse. I take all the matters as far as what happens in a fight in my hands. You know, it is true what they say, and as fighters and in this tournament, we control our fate and our destiny. And I just want to say that, you know, I'm always thankful to come out and have this opportunity to just do my best and just try my hardest. You know, so. Congratulations to Rick Khan. All I want to say is if he makes it to the final, kick Asker's ass for me, please.
When this, I want to take a step back real quick. Toby joined us. When this company started at Bellator 5, we were on ESPN Deportes. We reached about 3 million homes. It was all Spanish language. Nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew what we were about. And this gentleman to my right pulled off what is still in my mind the greatest submission I've ever seen. And it put this company on the map. And as I've said many times, Toby Amata will always have a position and a place with this company. We owe an awful lot to him in terms of what he's brought to this company and how he's performed inside of our cage. Suffered a tough defeat tonight, but I'd like to hear from Toby. And again, a fighter who has a very special place in our heart at this company.
Thanks, Bjorn. Well, happens. So, yeah, Patricky, strong guy. I was really hoping for more of a battle. I was hoping to put out a little bit more of a fight and mix it up, and, you know, of course, not getting stopped that way, but stuff happens to everybody. So, I mean, not made of steel, so to speak. Anyway, but thanks for the third shot in this tournament, Bjorn. I really appreciate it. It's a really big deal. I noticed, like, who gets these opportunities. But, you know what, man, I'm ready for whatever you got for me next. I'm just ready for whoever has whatever. So, I'm done, fine, maybe a few days off, I'm right back to training and whatever else is out there, whatever I find. So, thanks, guys.
Last but surely not least, a lot of people had projected and predicted that the title fight at 155 pounds would end and would end early. Everybody had an opinion about it, and when people would ask me about it, I would consistently come back on that opinion. I would say, look, if Ricci had been the only win and it was just one far-flung overhand right, then conceptually you could say, hey, he's a Cinderella man. But then to come in and beat Roger Huerta, and then to come in and beat Toby Amata, I knew we had a fight on our hands at 155 pounds. I've said many times, and I believe it as strongly right now as I did 2 hours ago. We have the best lightweight in the world fighting in this organization in Eddie Alvarez. But Pat Curran, and with what Jeff Curran has done with Pat Curran and the development of this fighter sitting to my right, he has got an incredible future in front of him in this game. To stand in the pocket against the most dangerous striker at 155 pounds in our game says an awful lot about this gentleman. So a big congratulations to Pat Curran in a loss, and a tremendous congratulations to Eddie Alvarez in the first defense of his title. So, Ed.
Thank you, guys. I'm a little bit disappointed, but still happy with. I'm happy that I was able to go 5 5-minute rounds. Pat was the first opponent I was able to share that with. I never went 5-minute rounds, and it was something I was looking forward to in my career as a champion, to be able to go the 5-5. So thank you for that, Pat. We'll always share that together. And I always pride myself on finishing. I have about a 90% finishing rate, and you know, sometimes things just don't go the way you plan them to. I tried to be patient, knowing I had 5-minute rounds ahead of me, and maybe I was a little too patient, and maybe he had just a little too hard of a head. He stuck in there, he was resilient, and he had more heart than I could ever dream of at having at 23 years old. So my hat's off to Pat. It's only your opponent that makes the fight. You and your opponent make the fight. So I'm glad I was able to go out there and cheer that with him tonight. So more congratulations to him than me. It was a great fight tonight.
I say thanks to Bjorn and Eddie. You know, it was an honor to get to fight, you know, a world-class fighter like Eddie. He just has more experience than me, so all I can do is go back to the gym, work on my mistakes, and come back stronger the next time. So I'm only going to get better. I got a long future ahead of me, and I just want to say thanks again for a great fight.
All right, and with that, for those folks that are just joining us on the live stream, welcome to our post-fight press conference here at Bellator 39 here at Mohegan Sun. Mohegan Sun Arena was the site. In fact, we're just outside those walls now. Our post-fight press conference will take questions online. We've got numerous questions, a lot of duplicates. We'll sort through those. We'll get through, I think, most of them, but we also want to make sure we take questions here in the house. In fact, let's start that now. Let's take our first question in the house. Sit right here in the front row.
Frederick Shawnee, thesportscourier.com. Ben, is Matt Lee an alien?
I'd say Matt Lee is the real Korean zombie, man. That dude has a granite chin and without a doubt the most heart, and is the toughest fighter I've ever competed against. To see his disappointment when they tried to, you know, stop it in the second round, and when they actually did stop it in the third, nothing I could say or do would take away the disappointment. But that guy's a true warrior, and like Eddie said, with his fight, man, you know, the war that we had, or the fight that we had, you know, is an experience that we both will take away and, you know, never forget.
As long as we had Ben on the microphone, let's turn it over to Bjorn. A question coming to us from Facebook. This will be, again, Bjorn, to you. Bjorn, will you be putting Gilleby Saunders into the next welterweight tournament?
Yeah, the plan right now is to get him another fight on television. And then coming off of the heels of that fight, another performance like this, and he'd be an automatic entry into our next 170-pound tournament.
Bjorn, thank you. Next question.
Yeah, this one's for Eddie. A couple of times, especially toward the later rounds, I think it was 3 total, you sort of turned fully your back to Pat, and then sort of like walked away a few steps and got back in it. Your face sort of changed during that point. What was going through your head? Was that frustration over not being able to finish, or?
No, it's funny. It's sort of something I call a state change. I want to change my state, so I'm in front of my opponent, and I'm not doing anything. And I sort of get angry at myself, so I turn away from him. I change my state of mind, and I come back, and then I exchange, and I try to I change my attitude that I have in front of him. That it's just something I do. I do it in practice sometimes too as well. But I just try to change my attitude when I'm in front of him, and the only way to do it is not to keep doing the same thing in front of him and moving around. And I kind of turn to the side, I change my attitude, and I come at him with a stronger attitude, I guess I would say.
Eddie, thank you. Next question in the house. Okay, sir.
Denny Siggins from Northeast MMA. Rick Hahn, I got a question for you. Can you describe to us the tournament, the short time in between fights, how the fighter handles it, and the weight cutting process, and the whole process of the tournament?
Well, in regards to like short turnaround, I'm kind of used to that with my background in judo. obviously, you know, it's a different game. You don't take the same beating in a judo tournament as you do in an MMA fight. And every fighter is different. You know, we all cut different amount of weight. The short turnaround, it just also depends on, you know, how beat up you are from your first fight. I mean, my last fight, I had to take about a week off because my leg was the size of, you know, a grapefruit. My knee was. So obviously, you know, that knowing you're fighting 4 weeks later, it's kind of scary. And luckily for this fight, you know, I feel a lot better. I'm not as banged up. At least I don't feel it today. Maybe tomorrow I will. But you know, every fighter is different. You know, everyone cuts different amount of weight, so they all react different ways and go about it, you know, in their own ways. At this point in my career, I think I cut probably a little less weight than most welterweights. I mean, I used to cut about 20, 25 pounds, but it didn't really work for me. I think where I'm at now, you know, it's a little less than that, but you know, everyone's different, whatever works for them. And I'm still new to this weight cutting thing. I didn't really cut much weight in judo, so I'm still figuring out my body and how what works best and how I perform.
Rick, thank you. Let's go back to the house for more questions. Go ahead, sir.
My question's for Bourne, or Bjorn, excuse me. Is Lyman good for Ben Saunders next?
Interesting question. You know, we're going to have to sit down with Lyman and try to figure out exactly what we're going to do next. I think he's an enormous talent. I have thought he was an enormous talent since he took our world title in the first season. So, you know, we'll just sit down with him and figure out what's coming up next. I mean, you know, Lyman Good has got an amazing future ahead of him in terms of what he's going to do in this game. He suffered a loss tonight, but there's no doubt in my mind he'll come back. He looked, like I said, the Lozano fight. I mean, I literally thought that Lozano Good could have been the final in that tournament, you know, and he looked amazing in that fight. So, you know, we'll have to sit back, talk to him, see what's next, figure out how quickly we can get him back into the mix, get back on television and do what he does real well. So.
Thank you, Bjorn. Back in the house.
Hi, my name is Alvin from Georgia. I have a question for Eddie. It seemed like there were a few times you might have been slightly tentative to go for a finish in the middle rounds of your fight. I was wondering, was it because the hooks were just bouncing off his head, or you really thought you might get caught?
In the past, if anybody watches my fights, I tend to get knocked out almost every other fight. I bounce back up, and I kind of want to get away from that. My trainers and coaches are disappointed in me about that, and it only happens when I go in straight ahead, when I hurt someone, and I go straight at them to finish. Got to be super careful with someone like Pat. When you hurt him, he has a monster overhand right, and that could end the night, as you've seen with Ricky. So it was very important for me to not stay in the pocket too long, just get in and get out. I felt like that was Pat's only chance of being able to beat me tonight, was him landing that overhand and catching me. And it was very possible because it happened in the past. So wanted to make it a point to get in there and get out of there and not spend too much time there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish because of that, but I was able to do a lot of damage when I was in there, and he was just a little bit too resilient to get the finish.
Thank you, Eddie. Back to the house for our next question.
Hi, Charlie Siggins, Northeast MMA. This question is for Ben Saunders. You seem very, very happy to get the victory tonight. You seem really thrilled. You've been at this level for a long time. What made it so thrilling to get this victory tonight?
Bottom line, it's been about a year since I've got to be live on a televised card. I've been working diligently on my, all my, the downsides, my wrestling, my takedown defense, submissions and jiu-jitsu, sweeps off my back. I've been busting my ass, man, killing myself in the gym, and to be able to come out here and actually, showcase everybody, showcase my skills for everybody and all my fans, and possibly gain new fans, and, just do what I love to do, man. I love to fight. That's why, I get really excited. I get really pumped. The more fans are backing me up, the more the crowd gets involved in the fight. I feel the energy. I take the positive energy and I bring it into the cage with me. And once again, all the fans out there, I really, really want to thank you for your support through my depressing times. You guys really, really helped me, you know, realize I have the skills and the talent to, you know, make it in this sport. I just got, you know, to maintain my dedication and, you know, keep fighting, man. Keep doing what I do.
Ben, thank you very much. We'll go back, go online. We have our questions coming in. Thank you so much from Facebook. This will be to Pat Curran. And the question, I'm going to summarize it. The question's rather lengthy. It involves your cousin, of course, an MMA pioneer himself. Can you please comment on the training and its partnership between yourself and your cousin in preparation for this fight?
This was the best training camp I've ever had, the longest training camp. You know, we really wanted to focus on my boxing and, you know, get my hands up to par. Because we knew this was going to be a war, it's a stand-up fight, and you know, Eddie's hands are very dangerous. So we definitely focused mainly on my boxing, but at the same time, you know, we're still doing, you know, grappling, you know, my strength and conditioning, preparing for a 5-round fight, and you know, he was with me, you know, through it all. So.
Pat, thank you very much. By the way, Jeff is right over here. Big Frog is right here. Jeff waved the crowd. Jeff Curran. Let's go back to the room for a question. Go back to row number 3. Let's see if we can pull this off.
Jack and Canarcio from your shirt on. Pat, are you interested at this point in possibly fighting in the featherweight tournament next season?
It's always a possibility. I came into this tournament, you know, a 45er, moving up a weight class, and you know, like it could always happen. So yeah, it's a possibility.
Bjorn, can you tell us if any dates have been finalized for any of the finals fights in the tournaments this season?
If the dates for the finals in the lightweight tournament are set yet?
Any of the tournaments?
Yeah, absolutely. The 7th, the 14th, and the 21st of May. Yeah, we'll go from, where are we on the 7th? Newkirk. We're in Newkirk, Oklahoma on the 7th, then we go on the 14th to Atlantic City at Caesar's Palace, and then the 21st, we're at La Berge du Lac in Louisiana. So, and there'll be one final on the 7th, one final on the 14th, and then 2 finals on the 21st.
Thank you, Bjorn. Questions in the house? If not, we'll go. We do have one. We'll take care of that question.
Hey, Gary, the Plan Team Takeover. Yeah, so Eddie, this is a question for you. Recently, MiddleEasy.com posted a list of the best fades in MMA, with you taking the #1 spot on that list. And ever since this list has came out, you have gone undefeated. Do you attribute any of your success to this list being published?
We'll give you the choice, Eddie.
Yeah, I guess so. You guys are gonna make my my barber the most popular barber in Philadelphia, but no, I don't know. I can't answer this question. I'm gonna roll the barrel.
Bjorn, to you, a question coming off of Facebook. It says, the Midwest has a huge and growing MMA scene that needs to be capitalized upon. May we see fights coming to Midwest states like Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, or Michigan?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in talks with you know, First Nations casinos all over that part of the country. You know, Chicago's our home base. We've done 2 shows. We did 2 shows last year at Chicago Theater. We've done 3 shows in the Chicago market. So yeah, those are all options and opportunities. We had 25 shows this year, 27 the next, and 27 the year after that. So we're going to be very, very busy and traversing the country. We got a lot of flexibility because we're on Saturday night. So absolutely.
Thank you. Back to the house for questions, if we have any. Okay, front row.
Yeah, this question's for Patricky. I was just wondering, did you get to catch Eddie's fight, and what are your thoughts on possibly fighting him in the future for the title?
Se eu continuar ganhando, eu espero fazer uma boa luta com ele. Ele é um cara bastante experiente e sabe bem controlar o seu jogo, fazer o seu jogo de boxe. E eu acho que seria uma boa luta.
If I keep training, I believe I could do a great fight with him. And he's a tough guy. He can control well his boxing game. I saw the fight, I liked it. And I will train a lot for him.
Vicky, thank you. Let's check the room again for questions. Now we'll go to a question off of Facebook. And Bjorn, this comes to you. Perhaps a lighter moment here at our post-fight press conference from Randy Williams. Bjorn, you are a character, sir. What do you do in your off time?
What do I do in my off time? I don't really have any off time, Mike. I do this in my off time. And when I'm not doing this, I do more of this. You know, we got a show, as you know, every single week. 25 weeks out of the year, brother. So, and they go on Saturdays, you fly home Sundays, you go to work at about 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So I do this all the time. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I get paid money to sit cage side and watch fights like this. So that's a pretty good gig.
All of us here at Bellator can attest to the fact that he does go to work on the next fight Sunday morning, because some of us get those phone calls. Bjorn, to you again from @SprawlingBrawl. It's a question about Saturday nights and women's fights. Will we see them again coming on Saturday nights at Bellator?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of when or in what weight class, whether it'll be 15 again or 25, I don't know. Something we got to work through and talk about. But I think, you know, Zuffa's position relative to women's fighting, and now with the acquisition of Strikeforce by Zuffa, I think it puts the women's game in a tough spot, but we've welcomed it. We did an amazing tournament with 8 women, all of whom are ranked in the top 10 in the world. We are thinking about and researching doing it again. So, yeah, without question.
And as always, we had a number of questions that come in the form of comments, and those comments, several of them coming in for Lyman. Good, Lyman, great to see you back in the tournament. Regardless of tonight's outcome, we want to make sure we see you again. Bjorn, make sure of that, was one comment. Rick Hahn, congratulations by several. Pat Curran, we must admit we didn't start out cheering for you, but we ended the fight cheering for you in quotation or in parentheses, and Eddie both. So you've got some new fans, of course. Eddie maintaining all of his fan base as well. A couple of comments about Ben. Ben, glad to see you back in the Bellator ring. Again to Bjorn, make sure we see Ben again soon. And there were a wealth of other comments that were essentially summarized by those. So let's go back in the room one last time for a question up front.
This question is for Pitbull. You were talking about your knee injury and how you're recovering from that. How much of an influence was your brother on you recovering and getting back into MMA?
Meu irmão foi muito importante nisso, porque ele me deu bastante motivação e me deu esperança para eu voltar a lutar, e sempre disse que eu sou um bom lutador e que eu tinha a chance de ser campeão um dia, que o nosso sonho ia se tornar realidade.
My brother motivated me a lot, and he always told me that I should come back and that I was a good fighter, and that someday we would be champions. We would have this opportunity.
Thanks, guys. Let's check the room one more time for questions. Here we go. Give you time to think about it. If you come up with it in 20 seconds, let me know. A couple of other, in fact, the final comments could be summarized by saying this: Toby, it's great to see you here at the press conference. Always one of our favorite fighters. We wish to see you back again sooner versus later, it says. And back to the second row for the question.
Toby, were you expecting a stand-up battle, or were you looking to go to the ground with another jiu-jitsu black belt?
I was looking to do it all. I knew he liked boxing, so I was ready to do that too. Unfortunately, I got a little anxious, and I'm the one who kind of left myself open. But I was expecting ground game. Also, I knew that he would probably want to try and prove something by taking me down and submitting me. But I was ready for it. Like I said earlier, I was really hoping, expecting a lot more of a fight out of this. But it's one of those things like you see everywhere, all over. It's like God. So, but yeah, like I said, I mean it. I'm just ready for whatever they got next, and just give me something.
Toby, thank you very much. And for some final comments, we'll turn it back over to Bjorn Rebney.
Thanks, Mike. Just it's close to 1 o'clock in the morning, but congratulations, Ben, Patricky, Rick, Eddie. Great work tonight. Another big thank you to the Mohegan Sun. This is a spectacular location. Can't wait to be back here, and to our partners at MTV2. Thank you, guys. And we'll see everybody next week, same time, same channel.